And it's Ken Kraetzer for CBSI Talking Business and Marketing Club of New York, and a chance for us to talk to leaders in the fields of education, business, banking, customer service, and all to highlight our team at CBSI. We provide insurance-based benefits to the credit card payments industry. Now I'm glad to bring back one of our favorite guests in the Boston area. That is Christina Inge, who is the founder of Thoughtlight Digital Agency, also a professor at 3 schools in the Boston area, Northeastern, Brandeis, and Harvard. And she also has a new book out on marketing analytics called Marketing Analytics, a Comprehensive Guide. And it's a look at the $3.2 billion marketing analytics market. And Christina, good to see you. How you doing?
It's an honor to be here, Ken, and I am doing just great.
Oh, that's terrific. Now, you mentioned we're going to talk about your book in just a moment, but you were just at a conference of educators in the field of marketing, American Marketing Association Winter Higher Education meeting. Tell us about that. Sounds like a great meeting.
It was a really great meeting, Ken. As you mentioned in your introduction, I divide my time between running my marketing agency here in Boston, Thoughtlight, as well as teaching digital marketing in schools throughout the Boston area, 3 different schools. Because I just drink a lot of coffee, Ken. And so this was a chance, I thought, just really to connect with fellow marketing educators. But what I found when I got to the conference is that, this stuff that we talk about as marketing educators can really benefit us on the agency and practitioner side. A lot of what people were presenting, including my own presentation, but I'll talk about that in a moment. I was absolutely blown away by the presentations of my colleagues teaching at different schools, because most people presented research that they were doing on what are the best practices that are actually working out in the field. So I can give you some examples. We had a presentation on some research that looked into the question of, well, what happens if we as brands, for instance, post to social media in support of various causes or various history months or cause-related months? Is that seen as wholesome? And does it benefit our brand? Or is it just seen as, trying to make a buck over appearing to be positive? And the research found that they asked consumers how they are reacting to brands. That's, so the more conventional way of doing research. But what this was clever is that they looked at the social media sentiment, and they did advanced text analytics on the social media sentiment around brands when they post in support of a cause, and then also looked at the social media sentiment and content if a brand makes a misstep and alienates their audience. And what they found is that making a misstep can have terrible negative consequences for your brand, but just posting that you are doing something in honor of a particular cause, it is not going to really help your brand. So if you've ever wondered, okay, is this something that we should be doing? Should we be supporting a cause publicly? If it's not authentic to your brand, the research came back doing data analytics on an extensive number of social media posts from around the web. The research came back saying, no, it isn't. And that was just one study. We saw studies on how to get people to participate in the metaverse, and found that people are actually more active in the metaverse when they have an unrealistic, in other words, more cartoon-like, less representational or realistic avatar. So if you're a brand, you're thinking, how am I going to get into the metaverse? What kind of brief do I give to my creatives on how our metaverse implementation should look? There's research out there telling you everything down to the avatar level of how it should be designed. Now, we as marketers, we like to be creative. We like to kind of own what we do, but we also want to be data driven. And a lot of times, those of us who are working in industry we think we have to do everything ourselves. We have to experiment everything ourselves. We have to try everything out ourselves. But the takeaway, the number one takeaway I got from the AMA Winter Higher Ed Conference is that our peers in academia are doing extraordinary work to validate different best practices, and that we should really be reading marketing journals, academic marketing journals, to get those best practices. We don't have to learn just through our own trial and error. The data has already been collected. The data is out there. It's up to us as marketers to interface more with our peers in marketing academia.
Christina, tell us a little bit about your presentation to the AMA conference that you did.
Absolutely. As you know, my area of research is marketing analytics. I've got 2 books on the topic that I've written. As you mentioned, Marketing Analytics, A Comprehensive Guide from from Flat World, as well as Marketing Metrics from Kogan Page. And my research assistant, Sarah Salmon, and we did a study where we talked to C-suite executives on how are you using marketing data. We were especially curious to know, you and I both know that marketing data can be used for way more than just making decisions on marketing campaigns and branding. It tells you the voice of the customer, and that data should be used throughout the organization. And we wondered, well, is it? And if yes, why? And if not, why not? And of course, the answer came back is that most C-suite executives in this small study that we conducted are very reliant on marketing data, and they really trust it and they love it, but only to make marketing decisions. They are not fully utilizing marketing data. Part of it is a trust factor. They don't think it's as relevant or as reliable when it comes to making decisions around product or pricing or distribution channels or other aspects that you actually can inform through marketing data. Other times it's just a matter of silos, but mostly it's because we as marketers are not necessarily doing a terribly good job of communicating the value of marketing data across the organization. So that was our research. It was a small study. It was well received, and peers in the education sector really asked, could we follow up with an article on this? So Sarah and I are working on expanding this into something that all marketers can use. But it was very eye-opening to get that data from the horse's mouth, directly from the C-suite, on how marketing data is perceived both very highly, but also really not fully utilized because of some misperceptions around its quality, its integrity, and in some cases, not even misperceptions, but just a lack of communications. In fact, I'd say most cases, it's the communication component. So that was the study we presented.
Well, that's terrific. You mentioned that there are more ways that data and data analytics could be better utilized in companies and in business. What are some of the examples of areas where data is underutilized right now?
Well, it's so underutilized that actually my second book, Marketing Metrics from Kogan Page, covers it in multiple chapters. So I could go on for days about this, Ken. So I'll try to keep it simple in the interest of time. I would say we need to look at marketing data more holistically. People think of data, for instance, on what people are reading on your blog as useful only to optimizing your blog. Maybe if you're very ambitious, you can use that data to inform advertising messaging. But if you're a product-driven organization, just to stick with one simple example, what people are reading on your blog should also be giving you some clues as to what kind of products they're interested in seeing from you, or what the value is that they see from those products. For instance, let's say you are an organic coffee company. Big shout out to coffee here. And you think that what makes your product unique and different is the sourcing, right? That it's single source beans. But you find that whenever you post to your blog around the flavor profile of your coffee, that's what people mostly click on. That's what people mostly read. That can be a clue that what you see as the main selling point of your product is not what excites your consumers the most. And that can inform everything from product positioning to, frankly, it should also be informing what kinds of products you develop. The coffee company in this example might want to look at, do we need to be only selling single source, or would we be just as successful if we sold a greater variety of different coffees, because it's that flavor profile people are looking for. So it's little things like that that will really tell you as a brand, not just the ins and outs of how you should be promoting your product, but really across the 4 Ps. Remember, the 4 Ps of marketing are not just promotion, but product, price, and place. And it's in those areas that I think that organizations are not mining their data to the extent that it would be maximally useful for them. And that's something we as marketers really need to start thinking about how we're going to correct.
Yeah, those are the words, the 4 Ps that we heard every day when I was an undergraduate student at Providence College in a marketing class. And it's always back to the fundamentals, no matter what channels and technology. Hey, one quick question. Research has changed a lot. I mean, we used to rely on focus groups. So I remember we did a lot of work analyzing direct mail pieces and focus groups and headlines and message testing. But now we have so many more channels, certainly online, polling on Twitter and other social media channels. Are there research technology or techniques or practices that seem to be working the most effectively today?
Yeah, great question. Going back to the example of that study at the American Marketing Association conference, that was drawn on data mining. So text analytics, looking at using powerful algorithms, looking at text data, quantitative numerical data, and using that to find out a little bit more about our audiences and our markets. So I would say text analytics is very critical right now. So too is, again, I still believe, however, very strongly in both focus groups and surveys, because there's only so much that you can get with data right now because of privacy protections. I think we also need to have a balance and be able to connect with our consumers by asking them directly through focus groups, through surveys, through all those traditional methods. So I would say the big shift that I'm seeing is a change from just traditional methods to then going all the way into only looking at data mining, text analytics, quantitative data analytics, to now looking at that balance, because I think in that balance is where we're going to find the insights that we need. But I would say, yeah, text analytics are very, very critical right now. So too, it continues to be big data, data mining. Those are still very, very important in terms of getting the insights that we need.
Okay, certainly balance, sources of information, sources of research, very important. Christina Inge, who is the founder of Thoughtlight Digital Agency up in Boston, professor at Harvard, Northeastern, and Brandeis, has 2 books out. Why don't you tell our audience a little bit about your 2 books?
I'd be happy to. So my first book is a textbook. It's called Marketing Analytics, A Comprehensive Guide. And just as the name implies, it's a guide to all things marketing analytics. I wrote that to be a beginner-friendly, highly accessible, one-stop introduction to all things in the marketing analytics realm. And you can get that from Flat World Publishing. You can also purchase that on Amazon. The second book is Marketing Metrics, and that book is geared towards the practitioner. That book is from Kogan Page. The full name of the book, I am going to read it out to you because it's quite the doozy. Marketing metrics leverage analytics and data to optimize marketing strategies. And just as the title implies, it's about how do you as a manager know what metrics you need to look at to optimize for your product strategy, for your pricing strategy, for your content marketing, and of course, every aspect of promotional marketing. That is really not meant to be the be-all and end-all guide to introducing marketing analytics. It's a companion piece for the manager who needs to know how to manage with metrics across the organization. And again, that's from Kogan Page, but you can also get that on Amazon.
Okay, we'll put links in the caption to this. And Christina, do take a minute to describe your agency, Thoughtlight Digital, up in the Boston area.
Yeah, Thoughtlight is a true labor of love. I founded it in 2014, and I have been happily running it ever since. We are a full service digital agency here in the Boston area. We do everything from CRM implementations, web design, marketing automation, as well as email marketing, social media management, videography, for which we partner up with New View Media, and of course, SEO and SEM. So again, we really like to work with mission-driven organizations, which does not just mean nonprofit. It means any organization that really has a heart, a mission and a vision that goes beyond just selling a product or a service to truly making an impact across the world. And we've worked with everything from Fortune 500 companies to individual authors. And it has been a wild ride, and I continue to love it because it's really the clients and the team. I have a wonderful team, and again, really wonderful clients. And we are open for business. We are nearly fully booked out already for all of 2023, but we have a couple of spots open for clients if people are in need of digital marketing services.
Okay, good to hear about that, and maybe we'll do more on some of the keys in marketing services today. But Christina Inge, great to have you as a guest and hear about your trip and the paper that you presented at the American Marketing Association Winter Higher Education meeting. And great to see you. Great to hear about your company and your 2 publications.
Great to talk to you again, Ken, and all of the wonderful things you're doing over in New York.
Our pleasure. And great to talk again with Christina Inge, founder of Thoughtlight Digital and a professor in the Boston area. And so thank you for watching. This is Ken Kraetzer again for CBSI Talking Business. And it's all to highlight our team at CBSI in Harrison, New York. We provide insurance-based benefits to the credit card and payments industry. And a shout out to our friend Mariah Hunt of the New England Direct Marketing Association, who introduced us to Christina at a conference that she spoke at a couple of years ago. And a great job that Mariah Hunt has done for the New England DMA.
Mariah is amazing. So echoing that shout out, and a shout out to you, Ken, and everything you do at CBSI.
Oh, appreciate that. Good to see you. This is Ken Kraetzer for CBSI Talking Business, and thank you for watching today.
Thank you.